the main thing is your experience as a barrister is invaluable as a judge because you remember what you wanted from judges and how you wanted judges to behave. And you know what's an appropriate way to behave because you've observed it for so long. I just really don't know how people who are appointed to this job who haven't got that sort of level of experience cope. It must be so difficult. So I think, I was reading a sentence that I did when I first, for some reason, I hadn't been revised and it came to me, and it's 3 years now, and I read it and I thought, oh, look at this. Oh, guess who's been a judge for 5 minutes, and is going to speak one-on-one, with the accused, which is what I was doing. It's like anything else. I think probably at the start you roar and rough and make mistakes. I don't think I've made too many sort of sentencing mistakes or things like that or legal mistakes, but my manner in court probably hasn't been as appropriate then as it would be now, and you get better as you go along. I mean, the thing about being a barrister too is you never master it. You never king of the hill and never do anything wrong.
That's not the impression that some of your brethren give.
Yes, I know. Well, they're wrong. And yes, and you've got to watch that too. The other thing, it's really important when you're a barrister to remember that a lot of the reason that you're doing it for is ego, not altruism. And one of the reasons I like being a barrister was because I have a large, not so much a large ego, but I like performing, I like being noticed, I liked being the centre of attention. You need to remind yourself that that's why you're doing these things, because you end up being a bit of a pill if you don't. And one of the things I found hard about being a judge was I had to withdraw from the arena. And I was laughing with another friend of mine who was also a judge, and who was a terrific barrister. She was one of sort of the pioneering criminal women. And we're both laughing about how you automatically, over the years, as soon as a jury came on the bench, you'd light up. Inner candle would start, and just look at me, forget the prosecutor, just look at me, look at me, look at me. But like, what's it, that one in Little Britain? Look at me, look at me, look at me. Looking in my eyes. No, but you sort of start this internal incandescent, look at me, it's all part of you. So, and we were just both laughing. We still did it as judges. It was totally unnecessary. We had to sort of train ourselves out of, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Forget counsel. Look at me, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I'll just keeping an eye on the time here. And knowing that
I was going to say that. The thing that's good about being a barrister is that you never quite master it. It's a bit like golf, I suspect. And you're always prone at some stage to making some appalling, hideous mistake. And I remember very late in my career cross-examining a policeman and, setting him up, you're a fair man and you take scrupulous notes, and you'd never put anything in your notes that wasn't right. That's right. Yeah. And you'd never include anything that shouldn't have been included, or you wouldn't. What I was trying essentially to demonstrate was that he charged my client with stealing something and made no note of it, and this client was up with multiple charges. And it was one of the few trials where John and I had co-accused, and it never worked very well because we seemed to clash a bit. John's going, I think it's in his notes. I'm going, no, it's not. And I was saying, all right, well, you show me, Sergeant, where in your notes you've mentioned this particular item. Went, there.
Oh.
And I had to sort of, I knew that. I got out of court, oh, God, what an idiot. I've made a complete idiot. Oh. And it's salutary, and it can happen to anyone, if you let it slip, away you go. So the fact that I will probably always make mistakes as a judge, it's not something you can become definitively flawless at.